Just leave me alone. I'm ashamed to hear you talk that way. I don't understand why he'd be ashamed. He's just learned that his parents were brutally murdered. Hello YouTube, welcome back to another episode of Games Done Slow and Bad, where we're going to play this game slowly and badly. We're in Euro, and we're about to set off for Mount Teapot. Honestly, this is so unforgettable that, or so forgettable a level, that I entirely forgot that it existed. Which should give you an idea, sorry, Mount Temple, not Mount Teapot. It should give you an idea of how nothing this level actually turns out to be. It's a lot of running around and not much else. So, aesthetically, this is one of the more levels. There's a strange place at the summit of Mount Cress. There are mushrooms many times bigger than me, and plant stalks are scattered around. Okay. So, as you can see, this is an enemy-happy level. It's not too much of a challenge. There's only one jewel here we actually need to get to. The problem is, this is the level. It's these mushroom things and these stalks and these trolley enemies that come pretty much out of nowhere. Oh, and these guys too. So as you can see, I'm going to use the new power we got quite a bit. Quite a bit indeed. Because it's amazing. Additionally, we're going to have to do some serious backtracking at times to get all the enemies, which is kind of annoying. Not going to lie. I very much wish it wasn't the case. Again, backtracking. Get back here! There we go. So, the difficulty of this level is not that the boss is complex. It's not like the Great Wall, where it's, you know, timing traps. This one stands entirely on making a maze and making you run through the maze. And the enemies are actually pretty simplistic. If you are patient about your spacing, you can pretty much get around wherever you need to all these things. Annoying. Yeah, so I don't find this level all that appealing on a number of levels. I don't find it innovative. I don't find that it does anything better than any other level. There is no boss battle to speak of that makes you go, oh, it was so cool. Like, the first boss battle is probably one of my favorites, simply because it's not, like, difficult, but aesthetically it's quite pleasing. You know, the monster climbs out of that big hole in the center of the map. You KO the monster. Easy peasy. This level just relies on... Alright, I think this level relies on using some of your powers you've already gotten. Which is fine. You know, I get it. You always want to keep reinforcing and giving people a bonus for remembering that they have the powers. Oh! Just remembered. Free Dan. We picked up a power-up in the previous level for him. It made his Dark Friar power more powerful. Let's see what that looks like. Come on. Oh, yeah! That's probably my favorite ability in the entirety of the game. Basically, when you charge now, you can unleash your power and dump the power in multiple directions. So watch this. So an already overpowered character just became more overpowered. Thank you, game. So as you can see, we still have just a tremendous number of enemies to beat. Now, the positive is that because of this advancement to Dark Friar, we can take out enemies who aren't on our plane. And we can take them out in multiples. You might be like, well, that's nice, but it's not the best. Look, it's taking multiple hits. Yes, it absolutely takes multiple hits. But the ability to sort of clean house as Freedan is a huge benefit. I'm actually going to go back and quickly top up my health. This isn't something I do very often, and I often regret it. And I am trying to power through this level, so I will make mistakes simply due to the fact that I'm trying to run through this level at absolute top maximum speed. I believe we will to use this. Yep. So as you can see, they've locked a few bits of the level behind the power that you just got. I believe this one should be accessible to me. There we go. Oh, this power is so great. Alright, and this little hanging Chad here obviously leads somewhere, but we can't do anything about that right now. So we are going to continue running around in this mushroom land, which isn't at all a mountain, killing enemies who are more or less one or two shotted. And this is it. This is sort of our fate for the rest of this episode. Again, my 2 cents here is there are some great levels in Illusions of Gaia. This one is completely unforgettable, or completely forgettable rather. So as we charge through this sort of monotonous level, some good news. I have acquired some additional resources in the way of additional systems for the channel. So what does that mean? That means that I have gotten my hands on... I have no idea where this goes. I'm fascinated by this. I've gotten my hands on a copy of N64, and I have got... Oh, is this the red jewel? Okay, that's one red jewel. I've got my hands on a copy of an N64 and a Super Game Boy, which unlocks the world of Game Boy Color, and N64 games for us. I have some ideas of what I'm going to do with this. It's going to be very exciting, I think. But yeah, if there's any suggestions of things you'd like to see, I'd love to see them. I am incredibly excited for this advancement because, sort of starting out, I had... bouncing the mushrooms. I had, you know, one system, essentially, at my disposal. That system being, the Super NES. Slash NES combo console that I had. So this is pretty big. You know, N64 has some quality... Did I miss, like, a treasure? N64 has some quality titles. You know, outside the high-end titles that everyone's heard of, Ocarina, Majora's Mask, GoldenEye, Super Mario 64, which is a great game. There are some gems out there. Now, those games are definitely, like, I would love to play some of those folks, but there's definitely something to be said about playing some of the let's say, B-rate titles. One that I don't think gets quite enough love, because folks remember it, but not as passionately, is Donkey Kong 64. And that's one I'd be interested in getting into. Yeah, it's awesome. Simply because it is an epic collectathon. Like, there are games that are collectathons, and they're wonderful. But there are games that are epic collectathons. There are games that set the bar in what a collectathon is and will be. And that game, I mean, it literally had collection items just for the sake of having collection items. Other collectathons I'd love to tackle back would be Banjo-Kazooie. Again, I feel like it doesn't get quite enough love. I know that there's, I think, a version for the Xbox out of it. But when you ask someone what was the best N64 game, there's a whole bunch of really good answers, but you're never hearing anyone talk about those. Or Diddy Kong Racing. That's another one. Diddy Kong Racing gets a lot of love in the speedrunning community because it's so easily broken. But does not get a lot of love, you know, when you're with your friends talking about the games you remember the most. And honestly, actually sort of thinking it through, when you think about the games that people do talk about the most, they have not necessarily aged well. Actually, when you go back now and you play Ocarina of Time, you see some serious warts with it. The nature of it being version 1, Gen 1 3D graphics, you really see some serious warts. It had a lot of the cool features, you know, the collectathon stuff. The Big Oron Blade is, you know, comes to mind immediately. Or the Skulltula Kids. All very cool stuff. But honestly, when I've recently gone back and replayed some of these games, it was Majora's Mask that really stood out to me as a game that I never gave enough love to, given the amount of content that actually went into that game. Everyone just thinks like, oh yeah, you know, you played the version, and then you hit the song, you went back in time, but like, the progression of characters in that game was really stunning. And unless you really wanted to go out of your way to see it, it's not something you'd likely notice, which I think was one of the best parts. Like, you knew that everyone had a different line every time you saw them at different points in the day, but you never realize until you really go and dive in how refined the actual conversation was. Alright, we found the mushroom drops. This is the MacGuffin that allows us to bridge that gap that was open earlier. So thank you, MacGuffin. Yeah, you appreciate it as you sort of grow older. As a older gamer who likes to see fully fleshed out games, you look back and you go, wow, that's a really nice touch. That is the sort of touch that Nintendo used to put on all games. And I have to say, in some of the recent Switch titles I've played, you sort of see it coming back. Alright, pours the water on the mushroom stems, and they grow. So, MacGuffin has been used up. I'm not equipped. I gotta get Free Dan back, which I'm hoping is around over here. Because I gotta kill that guy. Oh yeah, I'm on. I'd argue that those are probably the hardest characters in this entire level. Yeah, you notice it with some of the newer titles that are coming out? We're getting back to the quality over quantity battle. And it's erring on the side of quality rather than quantity. Because when I look at some of the titles in the last gen, right, in the Wii U for Nintendo, they did not at all display the same level of quality that you're accustomed to seeing in a Nintendo game. There were some great titles, don't get me wrong. Mario Maker is amazing. Mario Maker is conceptually one of my favorite things I've ever seen done. The ability to grab something and just throw it on the screen and then have it react accordingly and essentially build the level is just staggeringly cool. You know, such things have existed in the sort of third-party indie world for a long time. You know, there are entire software packages devoted to creating quality games from, you know, essentially building blocks. But to have a main developer grab it and say, you know what, this is the best way for us to advance our brand, is pretty staggering. It also allows the community to contribute, and I am all for the community contributing. That's why at some point I would love to get a, I mean, assuming this ever takes off to the extent where there's actually other people watching, commenting, and participating, I'd love to get some servers together for some games that sort of line up with what we do, and, you know, see what everyone else does, because I think that's the coolest thing about games. Because I'm going to play it my way, which is informed by the way I do things. And the way I do things is I'm an accountant by trade. So it's methodical, it's efficient, there's very few frills, decorating is not my strong suit. So I love to see what other people do, because obviously other people coming from a different background react very differently. Here's our MacGuffin again. It's the MacGuffin drops! That's one of the reasons why I love games like Terraria. Eco Global Survival is wonderful in that way. Because that one essentially legislates cooperation if you play it the traditional way. I also picked up The Long Dark the other day. Be interested to play that. I have seen it, I've seen other people play it. I've passed it by several times. This time around I grabbed it. He tries using the water from the mushroom. He pours it into the stem and bam, magic MacGuffin. Thank you. So that's something that I can see a good lore base in when I play the story mode. I might take it to the channel. Also found some wonderful mods for RimWorld. I know there's probably not a tremendous amount of crossover in the people who enjoy this versus the people who enjoy that, but there will be a time in a day where our tribespeople are going to be completely overmatched. And at that point, we'll be able to restart with a new group. And I think it'll be really interesting. Because some of these mods, man, whew. I guess it's one of the reasons why I like RimWorld as much as I do, is it sort of hits that Mario Maker type vibe, you know? Oh, what do we get? What do we get? What do we get? We get a new power! And what's that new power? Well, we'll find out in a second. Aura Barrier can now be used. The Aura Barrier is a dark power that can only be used by the Dark Knight, Freedan. Use the power of the aura to put a barrier around you. Use the attack and L and R buttons for power. If memory serves me, this one's kind of fun. I mean, like, I will literally never use that because it's defensive in nature. And as you've seen, I'm looking for a good hack and slash fest. For times like this, you're, supposed to use it. I choose to go full on offense. I mean, the game literally just recently gave me a power-up that makes me basically all-powerful. And you want me to go on the defense? No thank you. No thank you, my friend. Alright, cleared quite a bit. Excellent. Come on, hit him. Yeah! Joke's on you, bud. My spit's hotter. Alright, we are charging through. My goal today is to get through this hideous level, and it's going to be a little bit of a longer episode. But I can't with this level. If I put this down and I save in the middle of this level, I will never be able to find my way out of this freaking wet paper bag. There's nothing here to logically stop me from continuing, except myself. I will stop me from continuing. And currently I'm using the enemies as basically the blip I'm using to find my way. And as such, once I defeat the enemies, I'm in bad shape. Pop, poppity pop. Poppity pop. Yeah, mushroom drops. Oh my god. I like where they were going with this. I just do not find this nearly as fun as all the other things that this game has thrown at me so far. To the point where it's like almost disappointing. Like, okay, what was that, Forfer? Like, make this level a pass-through, a text allure thing, and like double down on the Sky Gardens. Give me like 2 more wings of Sky Gardens. All day, give me 2 more wings of Sky Gardens. I'd be an incredibly happy person for that. Alright, I think that's it right there. So we're gonna charge the laser beam. Charge the laser beam! So the other thing I guess I'll announce on each of the videos I'm doing is I'm gunning to try to start to do more, I'm going to oversimplify it and just say big content. Rather than doing small episodes, I'm going to try and get out once a week, something a little more grandiose. It might be a live stream in some cases, it might be a substantive playthrough. I'm leaving it sort of up in the air as I go through to decide on the fly what I would like to do. Live streams are great, but viewership is not great on the YouTubes. Does that mean I go to Twitch? I don't know, maybe. With the live content and keep the recorded videos here. Or does it mean do more large videos? I think it means do more large videos. Do live streams still, but mix in a great deal more 1+ hour videos on the weekend. Maybe every nth video do a double length, something like that. That's where my head is at the moment. I don't know if anyone would have any thoughts about that. I'd love to hear about it in the comments below. But it doesn't feel like going through and... Alright, perfect. It doesn't feel like going through and doing a live stream is necessarily best use of my time. Because in basically 1 hour of setup plus 2 hours of 2 hours of gameplay, I could record, edit, and launch probably 2 to 3 episodes of something else at 30 minutes apiece, or one mega episode of something else. Maybe at some point we'll get some more material. I'd love to do some live with friends. Gotta get back into Gauntlet. Been talking to Duke, trying to hammer out when he's available. Busy guy, as am I. So it's a little difficult. You found the teapot! Yep, that's it, guys. We've been looking for a teapot this whole time. Wonderful, eh? A teapot. This whole entire freaking vision quest is to get a teapot. This whole terrible level that had really nothing cool and substantive behind it was for a teapot. Thank you, game. Thank you for making me sad. Oh, we do have some legitimate power now. I mean, we are in just A++ shape. Yeah, so I don't know how everyone would feel about some mega videos. It would allow me to do a little bit more other stuff. And for me to switch between recording mediums is actually effortless. I'm running off a Cloner Alliance HDML Cloner Box. And if you have interest in recording yourself, or really anything that involves pulling video off of a source, I cannot recommend this tool enough. I bet I'm going the wrong direction. We'll see. Yeah, I can't recommend this tool enough. It is a wonderful, wonderful tool. Basically, you input your video in to one channel, and it has an HDMI and a mixed media, so I can throw in AV, I can throw in VGA, I can throw in whatever I need to throw in. And it basically passes the video through the box, records as I'm playing, and simultaneously records it to a thumb drive. Now, the format's not the best. It's not the most efficient format, but it does do a really admirable job giving me simplistic settings. So you can actually find them on Facebook. They do a lot of giveaways and such. It's pretty legit. Small company, but I mean, from what I've seen of this versus the Elgato, this felt like the more logical choice for doing retro. Might not be the most logical choice for doing current. So if you are looking to, you know, stream Call of Duty or something, maybe not the best choice, but for sure the best choice if you're going for classic games. There was a block towards the beginning that would only allow me to get around it if I'm will, so we're gonna just knock that out right now. Alright. Perfect. Perfect, 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 perfect. There aren't words for how happy I am to be done with this level. I'm truly ecstatic to be done with this level. Yeah! I missed an enemy? What's wrong with me? That enemy must die. Wow, I missed a lot of enemies. Jesus. How do I get to that? How do I get to that? I thought I got everything. That's terrible. Alright, we're gonna try and murder some enemies before we get out of here. Yeah, take it on the chin. Get my defense up. There we go. Yeah, so if you are interested in creating video content for YouTube, I can't recommend this box enough. Combined with very simplistic video editing software, as I am not by any means a film major, you're able to produce decent quality things. And at the end of the day, decent is decent. Alright, back to Euro. So we're going to get the payoff for this quest, and then we're going to call it. I think this is going to turn into a pretty long episode once I'm done cutting out my beginning. I always run the thing for a few seconds longer than you guys see. Simply because there are times where I find that I cut myself off by starting too soon after hitting record. Oh, that's a teapot. Oh, that's the teapot. It really does exist. I feel the presence of evil from somewhere in town. Maybe the townspeople have changed into demons. It may be someone in town square, or one of your friends. Use a teapot on anyone you suspect. A teapot jar filled with tears. Let's just think about that for a second. This game, which has been just awful to date, has a teapot filled with tears. Sorry about that slight life hiccup there. Let's go teapot some people. Who's a demon? Let's see. Is this Dunce a demon? No. Is she a demon? Not one that this teapot can detect. Is this Rube a demon? Tears run down the pot, and look at that! Coo coo coo! The world will soon be wrapped in darkness. The previous owner of this body is now a skeleton sleeping under the shrine. There's some darkness for you today. What are you gonna say, bud? I finally realized how important my parents are to me. I wish I could have told them. Just leave me alone. I'm ashamed to hear you talk that way. I don't understand why he'd be ashamed. He's just learned that his parents were brutally murdered. It's a terrible thing to say to somebody. We're just going to sit in the guest room. Some time passed. Good morning. Sorry about yesterday. Not you, Will. You're a dick. I thought about it all night. I'm next in line to inherit this company. If I want to stop the labor trade, I will have to change the company that started it. They make money on humans' misfortune. You're going to become the president of the company? Amazing! Hehe, stop it. You're embarrassing me. Kara, someone's come asking about you. Something about being an old friend? What? Hey, come on in. Hey, it's that pig. Hamlet the pig. Oink. What happened? Are you okay? He's come all this way looking for you. Lily found him in Watermia and sent him by the delivery service. What do you have to say? I just don't understand women. Thank you, Eric. To the west are the ruins of Angkor Wat. That is where the laborer's home is located. Let's go. Alright, so from the city of Euro, we head west. To the natives' village. So this is the home of the laborers that we saw earlier. It says, how's the tropics? I see the world tilted, my eyes blurred. There's nothing we can do, let's stay in this village for today. So it's really hot and we're going to stay in this village. They're not weathered yet, only recently bleached white. So this is the laborer's village, and here is where we're going to end it for today. Thank you so much for watching. In the next episode, we're going to tackle Angkor Wat, which is a wonderful dungeon that totally makes up for that fiasco of the teapot on the mountain. Obviously, you have a ton of content when it comes to watching things online, and I'm happy that you chose to watch this today. Hit us up on Twitter, games_done_slow. Hit us up on Facebook, Games Done Slow and Bad. Like, sub, comment. Let me know what you'd like to see next. Let me know what systems you'd like to see next. Let me know what you think of this game so far. We're almost done, and I love every minute of playing this game. Thank you, sincerely, and have a good night.